got our Beyond Critical Race Theory
Yeah.
on this day. Is it actually this day
Yeah.
or was
On
it?
this, well, it was actually yesterday, May
Okay,
9th. May
okay.
9th, 1961. On this day, May 9th, 1961, John Lewis, which passed away, he passed away July of 2020, the pandemic year. Everybody can probably remember Mr. John Lewis was congressman in Atlanta in the Georgia district. Uh, well known for the Freedom Riders back in the day. We're gonna get into that in a second. And he was well known, pretty much famed for being I think in the movie Selma, he was a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, Bloody Sunday, where he pretty much had to receive what 91 stitches
Oh,
or something like
okay.
that in the back of his
The
head.
little short guy.
Yeah, that was John. That was John Lewis.
Gotcha,
He
gotcha.
got hit upside the head with the baton in the
Right,
Bloody Sunday march
right.
in Selma, Alabama. Pretty much became Martin Luther the King's best friend as a young boy. And we're going to, I want to preface this with Psalms 83 because I'm going to go somewhere when I'm going to read this short article from the history of racial injustice. But Psalms 83, everybody's familiar with Psalms 83. It talks about crafty counsel. But I want to read that, and then we're going to read this short article because something changed. Something changed, okay? And I want everybody to think Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, John Lewis, Martin Luther the King. What happened? Ask yourself, what happened? It was one way. What's running back? Jim Brown.
Jim Brown. That brother, they're a big old sellout now.
Fell out now. So let's read Psalms 83, 2 through 5. So it says, keep not thy silence, O Yahuwah. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Here's the number 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, and the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. Remember that. And they are confederate against me. Okay? So, and number 6, they are the tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites, Moab, and the Hagarenes. All right. So, John Lewis, on May 9th, 1961, 21-year-old John Lewis, a young Israelite civil rights activist, was severely beaten by a mob at the Rock Hill, South Carolina Greyhound bus terminal. In here in Greenville, Anderson area, Clemson area in South Carolina, Rock Hill is northeast, about an hour and a half, about 30 minutes from Charlotte. So it's right there at
Okay.
the South Carolina, North Carolina border. A few days earlier, Mr. Lewis and 12 other Freedom Riders had left Washington, D.C. on a Greyhound bus headed to New Orleans. Freedom Riders were, protesters, Israelite protesters, or so-called black men that went from state to state proclaiming freedom, okay, proclaiming rights as the Jim Crow era was pretty much getting cemented, right?
Right.
And they felt that the climate was changing, so they would get on Greyhound buses. You seen Get on the Bus with the Million Man March. It was kind of like that, but it was
Right.
back in the 50s and 60s when things were changing. So he said the Freedom Riders, 7 of whom were so-called black or Israelite, and 6 of whom were white, sat interracially on the bus, planning to test a Supreme Court ruling that made segregation in interstate transportation illegal. The Freedom Riders rode safely through Virginia and North Carolina, but experienced violence when they stopped at the bus station in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and tried to enter the white waiting room together. John Lewis and 2 other Freedom Riders were brutally attacked before a white police officer, who had been present the entire time, finally intervened. The Freedom Riders responded with nonviolence and decided not to press charges, continuing the protest ride further south where they experienced continued violence and white mobs in Alabama. Now you ask, remember so what we just read. Nearly 47 years later, Rock Hill Mayor Doug Eccles apologized to John Lewis. By then, John Lewis was a U.S. congressman representing Georgia in 2009. One of the attackers, former Klansman Elwin Wilson, also apologized. I don't hold the town any more responsible than those men who beat us, Congressman Lewis said about the community of Rock Hill. And I saw these men as victims. Let me read that again. John Lewis said at the apology of the Klansmen and the mayor in Rock Hill that was there present that actually beat him, he said, I don't hold the town any more responsible than those men who beat us. Congressman Lewis said about the community of Rock Hill, and I saw those men as victims of the same system of segregation and hatred. So how? So I asked Sheriff, Young Judah, I asked y'all the question. Let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembered, for they have consulted together with one consent. Seems like we made it easy for them.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When I read this and got to the end, I said, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, a fleece of money, 47 years. 47 years. I don't think it would have hurt to be like, I hear your apology, I hear what you're saying, but ain't nothing changed.
Right.
Fruits of, y'all Christians, y'all read fruits of the root spirit all the time. I don't see no fruit. I hear you. It wouldn't have hurt to say that. It wouldn't have hurt to say that. You could have stayed a congress. I don't think they would have. You was old by the end, John Lewis, and made
Right.
But
Exactly.
you have been a congressman for a while. You were old.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So what changed? Why do we help? And we're going to talk about the other stories where the plight of this Israelite male and females is this politicized. It becomes politics. Our death